Hello
Bonjour.
Bonjour, and this is our video blog for our trip through France, if we make it. So, we're going to do two sets of videos. I'm going to give you the facts and the information and tell you what's actually happening, and then Lena's going to give you the funny version.
The lols.
The lols.
And the boffs.
And the boffs.
Which stands for bits of fun, in case you're not Ginge.
So that's what's going to be coming up, and we're going to try and update our little blog, Bloggy Woggy Doodah.
Bloggy Woggy Doodah.
Every few days.
Où est le Gruffalo?
As we head south through the French canals looking for the Gruffalo.
Dodging divorce.
Trying not to get divorced, which has been by far the biggest challenge of all.
Bloggy Woggy Doodah.
And I'm going to start off telling you about the delivery.
Boring.
The delivery from Falmouth to Rouen, and then Lena will tell you about our trip up the river. Cheers, bye.
Well, look, something like 10 minutes time. Can you say hi to Lena? Bonnie and Betsy are driving to Portsmouth before beginning their epic adventure tomorrow, travelling with the family across France by boat.
Hi there. Sorry it's taken us so long to get the blog up to date, but it's been pretty full on since we got here. We've been on the boat for too long. Way too long already. What's it been? 10 days since Lena came across on the ferry from Portsmouth. And I just wanted to tell you about the delivery that Garrick did with me when we left from Mylor and brought the boat across the English Channel to up the River Seine to Rouen, where the first lock is. So first of all, the weeks leading up to the departure were pretty full on and pretty emotional. We had to move out of our house, which we were letting on Airbnb. Lena moved in with her parents a week before I left. The boat went in the water completely unfinished with still 100 jobs to do, and we had a toddler and a 2-month-old, so those were pretty tough weeks. And we had a load of friends come down and family come and look at the boat when it was launched, which was really nice, and it was nice to see Lena and the kids on board. And then there was a big push to get the boat ready to leave. It was in no way ready to leave when we actually left, but we got as much done as possible. And half an hour before we were due to leave Mylor on the Sunday afternoon, there was a massive pile of stuff, all of our stuff piled up on the pontoon, and we just put it on board. Garrick turned up and we left. A big thank you to Darren that came down on the last day just to help me do some jobs, because I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed with everything that had to be done. But at the end of the day, we left at about 5 o'clock in the evening from Mylor, and it was a beautiful day. We steamed down the Carrot Roads around St Anthony Lighthouse and steamed east. We had dolphins on the bow. It was just like the perfect afternoon. Into the early evening, the wind started to pick up. And we made the passage from Falmouth to Salcombe, about 50 miles, in about 7 hours, and we got into Salcombe, coming around the headland, quite a lumpy headland, around midnight, and we picked up a mooring and went straight to sleep. The following morning we got up at 5. We had quite a tight tidal window that we wanted to make after we crossed the channel and approached Cherbourg, passing the Channel Islands. The tide there can run up to 4 to 5 knots, so we had to get that right. So we left Salcombe in the early hours of the morning. We had a pretty uneventful crossing of the channel. It was kind of overcast, and we had like 15 knots of breeze, so we were rolling quite a bit, but the boat was fine. We arrived in Cherbourg in the early evening and the sun came out. It was a lovely place to arrive in. The boat was in an absolute tip. We couldn't find the stuff that we were looking for, so we decided just to go straight to the pub and we had a few beers, came back to the boat and went to bed. The following morning we got up. We were going to leave early to make a tidal window to cross over to Le Havre, but the state of the boat was starting to get to me a little bit, so I got up first thing and spent the morning squaring everything away and storing stuff so we could find stuff that we were looking for. So we left Cherbourg at 11:30 in the morning. It meant we were pushing tide for a while, but then we had a nice crossing of the bay. It was really calm, flat calm. I was able to do a load of chores down below, start wiring in the fridge and some other bits and pieces, and we pulled into Honfleur, which is a really pretty little fishing village at the entrance to the Seine estuary. we locked in there about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening, and went and had some supper. The following morning, we had a very tight tidal window to travel up the Seine to Rouen, which is just before where the first lock is, and the tidal flow in the Seine can be extremely strong. It's a very commercial waterway, and you have to make the whole passage in one day. So there's some tidal curves which you follow, which give you a departure time based on low water at Le Havre, which meant us leaving about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, which we did. We locked out of Honfleur and turned right and started heading up the estuary. We had some pretty thick fog at one point, which we had to pull right over because the ships and the barges steam at full speed even in thick fog. So we just crept alongside. Then the fog cleared, and we had a pretty uneventful trip all the way up the Seine, past a lot of commercial traffic, and arrived in Rouen in the afternoon. It was pretty hot. It was like in the mid-30s. We filled up with fuel, and then we spent the afternoon doing jobs on the boat. There's still so much to do before the girls got on board. It was like inside the boat, it was like 40 degrees, and I was covered in cuts and bruises and exhausted. And one of the last jobs to do was to epoxy resin the inside of the bathroom and shower, and that was definitely a particularly low point. But Garrick helped me out, and we got a load of jobs done. We finished at about 10, 11 o'clock at night. Following day, I had to drop Garrick back to, me and Garrick got the fast ferry from Cherbourg back to Portsmouth, and Garrick drove Lena's car. She'd driven up from Cornwall to Portsmouth. He drove her car back to Cornwall, and we stayed with some friends overnight before getting the early ferry from Portsmouth back to Cherbourg the following morning. The crossing was brilliant. It was 45 quid for all of us, me, Lena, and the kids. Again, like, really impressed with the Brittany Ferry service and the pricing. And a big thank you to Garrick for being such a hero. We had a few little tiffs and arguments and stuff, but he was a legend generally. And thanks very much for doing the trip with me, Garrick. So the girls got into Rouen. We drove from Cherbourg to Rouen in the afternoon. It was really hot, so not a great start. Got the girls on the boat, and then we started getting the boat ready to head up the river. And you can read about that in the next blog post.